Welcome to the Unstoppable Pursuit podcast, where we're pushing the limits in business, life, and health. Today, it's episode 29, and we're talking about making the decision to know and follow healthy guidelines daily. It comes from the book Make Today Count by John C. Maxwell. It'll be in the show notes, so check it out. My name's Brian Benson, and next to me, well, he adds protein to his adult beverages, Mike Stull. And he wrote a book called Dominate Your Day, and he's going to dominate your day right now by reading out of it, a little part of it, and get it on his website, michaelstull.com.
All right.
Woo!
2 health-friendly oils are olive oil and coconut oil. These 2 oils have numerous health benefits and should comprise most of your cooking on a daily basis, especially coconut oil. Coconut oil contains healthy fats that both our brain and our body can use effectively. Use both of these oils with your cooking and or supplementing with a solid omega-3 DHA fish oil pill would be a great way to improve the consumption of healthy fats in your diet. The quote at the bottom says, "I find that the harder I work, the more luck I seem to have." And that was by the famous Thomas Jefferson.
Create your own luck. You know what? I love I love the other saying is be your own Santa Claus. It's not like, hey, I hope Santa Claus brings me this year. It's like, dude, just go out and create the wealth and then go buy the things that you want.
Yeah, screw Santa Claus. I'm bringing my own shit.
Ho, ho, ho. All right. We're going to dive kind of into this right now, but I'm just going to sort of read this this little part right before it, and then we'll go into the main point. Yeah. So if you know the value of good health, yet you've had a hard time making the commitment to know and follow healthy guidelines, here are some suggestions to help you turn your attention to the subject and tackle it. And I think that kind of prefaces what we're about to talk about. So the first one is have a purpose worth living for.
This one, I said this before we went live, but this one honestly makes me think of you because, you know, we always talk about having a purpose in life so that we can find our passion, you know, and pursue what we want to pursue. But, you know, for those that are watching now, and you may not have known that Brian and his lovely wife just had a baby. Woo! So that right there, I mean, for you, I mean, we talk about, you know, your purpose in life and whatnot, but like having a purpose worth living for, like having another human being that like is your DNA, and now you need to create a future not only for you, for your wife, but also for your child that is now living and breathing, you know what I mean? So, I mean, if that doesn't sum things up, I don't know what does. Now, you know, we can't give you guys your purpose on this segment, whether you're watching or listening. You have to find that out on your own, but the one thing that was interesting in this reading is that it said that guys live a lot longer that actually had suffered from a heart attack earlier on in life than the ones that did not. You know what I mean? And it's almost like the people that were given a second chance truly understand how precious life are, and they treat it much differently, you know, and they kind of find their purpose. They don't take things for granted. So, you know, for me, like at times I've struggled with times where like I've faced adversity and it's made me question my purpose. You know what I mean? So I don't think that's wrong for you if you're listening or watching, where there's been times where you've kind of questioned what your purpose is in life, because, you know, when you have your back against the wall or you face adversity, that's a good time to reflect on where it is where you're at in your current situation and where you want to go in life.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
No, I 100% agree. And like, yes, I am a new dad, and yes, it has given me so much more purpose in life. It's pretty amazing. I mean, just a little side story. I mean, it's just like the first time, well, it was the second time I held him after we got into this recovery room. I just started bawling my eyes out, and it was just looking down at him going like it was almost like this like flash of like everything else that ever existed like before this kid like didn't even matter. Mm-hmm. Like all problems, anything and everything like went away, and I knew that it was like, man, I have to do everything and anything I can to be the best dad like possible. And just knowing that this little guy like depends on me like that changes your entire perspective on life. I don't know if there are parents out there that listen to this, but that is how like crazy it was. And the other thing that I just wanted to add was sort of as you were talking, I sort of thought like having this purpose in life, but I'm going to just sort of read this a little bit like, So John Maxwell wrote the book, actually had a heart attack at like 47 years old. And like you said, sometimes people value things a little bit more when they have a second chance, right? So a friend who spent a lot of time with me during my recovery saw me pass on desserts time after time, something that was not characteristic of me. He finally asked, "Have you lost your craving for desserts?" "No," I answered, "but my craving for life is greater." And I think that's so important. How can you make craving life so much greater than anything else right now, you know? Because so many times, Mike, when you're looking for your purpose, it's like we spend so much time looking for it, and sometimes we wait too long or wait for something bad to happen to be like, oh, this is my purpose. Oh, this is what I have to do. But it's like, why wait for something bad or negative or something harsh to happen before you just go figure out your purpose and go for it? Like, that's what bothers me, is like too many people sit back and they wait for something to happen to then the light goes on. It's like, let the light go on now.
Right.
And I think it'll help you. But and just one more thing on purpose is my grandma's 97 years old. Nice. She's crushing it. But I think her secret to life, seriously, she smoked cigarettes when she was younger, not anymore. She, you know, had nothing growing up. She was poor. She, you know, didn't eat like super healthy. But I think her reason for living like so long, and the reason she keeps going, is because she goes to bed every night and tells me like there's a purpose. She has to get up the next day. Whether that's like she has to clean the closets, whether she has to go to the bank or go to the grocery store. Like, okay, obviously when you get a little bit older, these are big tasks. But like that, like she has a purpose like every night before she goes to bed to wake up the next day. And I think that that's so important, and I think it is a key to longevity a lot, is when you have this purpose worth living for.
Yeah, and that goes down to really counting your blessings and waking up with an attitude of gratitude, which we've said a million times on here. But, you know, here it says, seeing the big picture enables us to put up with little irritation. So I think about like you know, having a child, and everything led up to this point, and it's like now the little irritations really aren't even irritations anymore, because you have this child that kind of opens up your whole purpose in life of like now you truly have like this skin in the game, you know what I mean? And so like it definitely changes things. So
no, it's so true. All right.
Number 2, do work you enjoy. I think this is kind of an obvious one.
Yeah, I mean, this is really obvious, but what I really, you know, part of me wants to sort of question this, Mike, so maybe we can talk about that, is like, yes, everybody should do work that they enjoy. I think that is very, very important. But sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to survive. You know? And sometimes that comes with doing shit that you don't want to do. And that is really, really tough. But I think within any job, within any career, even or if you're an entrepreneur, you can find the things that you do enjoy and make you happy and try to do more of those in your job. Say you're...
It's called a side hustle.
Yeah, well,
it's true. It is
true. It is, yeah, I mean, there is the side hustle, but I'm also like, say you're an admin at a you know, a law firm or something, or an insurance firm, and say that part of you love event planning, but part of your job is to do some event planning. So how can you allocate more time to doing those things and bring that up in your job so you're doing more of those things that motivate you and excite you to keep going forward, rather than the mundane stuff that you like truly hate just to get by to pay rent and things like that.
Yeah, no. And so if that's you in the scenario that Brian just said, what I would do is I would put a lot of effort into the event planning, do so awesome that your bosses promote you. They promote you all the way to the top. When you get to the top, buy the company, fire everyone in the company, and hire your own employees, and then you're good to go. Boom. You know what I mean?
You done it.
Yeah.
But talk about the side hustle a little bit, though, because that is important.
Well, I agree with you 100% that you're not always going to be doing shit that you like to do. A lot of times you got to do stuff that you don't want to do, you know, and that's a sacrifice. A lot of guys, you know, we've done it ourselves where we've had to work a real job that maybe we weren't, you know, 100% happy with, while we're still doing work on the side that we do enjoy. with the idea that that work on the side is what we're going to do for the rest of our life.
Right.
You know, but I want to read this out of here. You know, one thing that I've always said that I don't want to get in the rat race, you know,
yeah,
and he talks about this. The problem with the rat race is that even if you win, you're still a rat and doing things that you don't want to do. I believe two major frustrations contribute to that stress. The first is doing work you don't think is important. If you do work that you believe adds no value to yourself or to others, you quickly become demoralized. If you work in that state for a long time, it begins to wear you down. To remain healthy, your work must be in alignment with your values. But I think that's true, and it's corny to kind of say that when they, you know, when you're pursuing your passion and you're doing things you love, that it probably doesn't feel like work. Now, I can say, and I'm being very transparent on that, I'm not there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% doing what I want to do for the rest of my life. Like, I'm just being flat out honest. Our goal is to be as transparent on this podcast as possible. I'm not there yet. I want to be there. I want to be where I'm just doing what I just am madly in love with and I'm passionate about and I feel is extremely important every single day. But I'm still in a place right now where I'm doing shit that I don't want to have to do long term. But again, I don't believe it's always going to be that way.
Yeah.
I'm on the unstoppable pursuit.
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to give up. So.
No, and you know, Mike did bring up the side hustle. We're doing this 6 o'clock at night after, you know, jobs and things that we have to do, but we love this so much we're willing to get into this after hours, you know, and put in more time in this. I mean, we love doing this, and this would be something that would be ideal for us, but we're going to keep pushing forward, and like Mike said, we're on the unstoppable pursuit, baby.
That's right. And the one thing I want to, exactly, and the one thing I want to add to that is, and I think this is very important, is if you're doing work and it's draining the shit out of you and you're extremely unhappy, then that's a huge red flag. But it says one of the ways you could tell you're working in an area of strength and passion is that it actually gives you energy. Meaning, if you're working 16 hours a day, but you're still feeling really good, you're probably heading in the right direction. But if you're in a position where, you know, even if you're working 6 hours a day and you're done and you feel exhausted and burnt out and unhappy, then that's probably a huge red flag that you need to maybe take a step back and reevaluate and look at where you're at and where you want to go.
Yeah,
you know, I
100%.
think that's a huge point on that.
No, 100%. Yeah, I mean, like, and I did actually, just going back really fast, like, you know, where it talks about doing things that, you know, follow with your values and like doing things that you think are impactful. Like, okay, maybe you're working for a company that does something that you don't align, it doesn't align with your values, or maybe it's not impacting people the way that you would like it to. So I am sure there's another company out there doing very similar things that maybe has a bigger purpose or maybe has something else that you align with. So, you know, you're never stuck really. Like, just always keep your options open to find that thing that does help you make sure that you feel like fulfilled, at least, you know, in what you're doing. I just think that it's such a shame when you hear about these people who are basically just rotting away in cubicles and they hate their job. They're miserable when they come home. They're jerks like to their family because they've just had such a crappy day. And these are the people that bring work home with them and then bring home life to the work with them. And like, that's just not acceptable.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and if you're doing work that really goes against every grain in your body, that's something to look at too. Not adversity. You're always going to face adversity.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You're going to be put in uncomfortable situations, you know, and that's where you probably grow your most. But like, if it's not in alignment with who you are, like what Brian said, then that's definitely a time to reevaluate things.
Yeah, red flag for sure. All right, the next one on the list is find your pace.
This one, for me, first thing I thought of when I read this one was Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
When I first, and you know, Gary Vaynerchuk is a true hustler. He is nonstop. And when I first started following him in the entrepreneurship field, I felt that I needed to go at his pace. Like literally, I felt if I wasn't going hard, like 10 to 16 hours a day, essentially, that I was not hustling, I was underachieving. And I was kind of comparing my work ethic and my pace to his, and I just realized, like, literally, I can't go at that pace. And then he comes out and says, literally, I don't expect anyone to go at my pace. This is what works for me.
Right.
It may not work for you. You need to find your own pace. And so I think that this is a very individual thing to every single person that you would talk to. Some people work awesome from 7 in the morning till 10 p.m. and they can just crush it. Other people work awesome late at night. You have to kind of find what works for you, or you're going to burn yourself out if you need to slow down a little bit, you know? And I've been on both ends of the spectrum. I've been in times where I kind of was maybe lazy a little bit, and maybe I just wasn't motivated. I generally, for the most part, am a very motivated dude.
Right.
You know, but sometimes I'm not motivated sometimes, you know, and then there's been other times where I've been going like a bat out of hell, and like I just hit the wall, man, and like I realized like I need to like take a breather and like recharge because I can't keep up this pace.
Yeah. Well, and I think both you and I, just again in transparency, like both felt that way about the whole Gary Vee thing. We used to hang out, you know, and go to lunch and talk about these things. Hustle, 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 hustle. Well, I mean, I don't know how good that was like for our personal relationships, to be honest with you. I think that was like really tough for us because we would talk about that and be like, oh my God, our wives are pissed at us.
And Brian would text me at like 3 a.m. and say, what are you doing? And I'd text him back and I'd say sleeping. And he would text me back in all caps, hustle, hustle, hustle. I'd be like, dude, you need some balance in your life, man. Like, get a grip.
Oh man, no, it's true though. We would push ourselves, but you know what? Like I realized now that I kind of feel that. Well, now I'm way out of balance. A newborn just totally changes your life. Yeah.
What was the rap? What was the rap that you said?
What?
About the EKG?
Oh, you said something about Benny B having an EKG.
Oh yeah, you
don't be
me.
Like me. Yeah.
Long story short, for those that have not heard or listened to the previous segment, Brian actually talked about pace. He went so hard for so long and didn't take care of himself that he had to go to the doctors and get an EKG from entrepreneurship. Now think about that. It wasn't like he was at the gym, like working hard, you know, and he had like issues. Like we're talking like
out that hard.
Just entrepreneurship in general made him go to the doctor and get an EKG. So right there, slow your roll a little bit and figure out the best pace for you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, it's funny. I forget how that rap went. I'll have to think about that. But yeah, it definitely was, you know, that was eye-opening for me too. And then I realized that, you know, just because I wasn't going Gary Vee hard, like I wasn't being effective. Like I know my effective hours now, you know, it's from 5 a.m. till probably like 4, you know, or 5. So then I'll do stuff like, you know, later on at night, but like I know my most effective hours are between like really effective, like 5 a.m. and 2 p.m. And that's where I'm like so zoned in. Like half the time I don't even eat lunch. I'm just so zoned in. But then now things are changing. I got a kid, so I don't know when I'll sleep. I don't know when I'll sleep next. But yeah, it's true. You got to find your own pace. It's definitely a personal thing.
All right, what is this, number 3?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, number 3, accept your personal worth.
1, 2, 3. No, it's 4.
Oh, 4, number 4, sorry.
Yeah.
Accept your personal worth.
I mean, you know, this is something that I find, you know, very, very interesting.
This is one that you and I talk about a lot often.
I mean, yeah, you know. About
believing in yourself.
It's kind of funny. I was listening to How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie on the way here. And I've also listened to this other book called The Psychology of Selling by Brian Tracy. 2 really good books. If you guys have not read them, you should. But in that book, the person that they were talking about that was really crushing it and doing well, in the sales book, the guy says every time before the salesperson, like, because Brian Tracy is a well-known sales coach. He's just huge. And he said, every time before he went into a meeting, he would always say, like, I like myself, I like myself, I like myself, over and over and over and over, building up that self-confidence. And How to Win Friends and Influence People is the same thing. It was like the guy was a public speaker, and he'd walk out there going, I love my audience, I love my audience, I love my audience. So then he'd go out there with confidence saying, this is all about you, like, I'm here to help you. So I think that there's a lot that goes into positive self-talk with this and really building your own self up. The more you talk to yourself and tell yourself what you already are, I love myself, I accept myself, I care about myself. Like, you have to have compassion for yourself in life. If you don't, then you'll run out. Like, you need to have self-compassion. Like, you need to give yourself a hug. You need to love yourself more than you love anybody else in the world, because you can't love anybody else until you love yourself so fully that you can give more to other people, in my opinion.
Yeah, in entrepreneurship, you I think entrepreneurs tend to be very hard on themselves and very critical because, they expect such lofty goals for themselves, and they feel a different calling to be innovative and visionary that, again, you have to love yourself. It doesn't matter how much, say, Brian believes in me and tells me every single day if I don't believe those things about myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it does, I mean, that's great. That's positive reinforcement from you. But it's like if I'm not believing that I'm valuable and that I have things to offer, then nothing's going to happen. It says in the book you have to have a good sense of self-worth and confidence in your work regardless of whether it was accepted by others. And that's kind of hard sometimes. For example,
Really
like
hard.
if I know I'm writing awesome blogs that are full of educational, awesome, factual, not alternative facts, but real deal facts. I had to throw a little political thing in there, alternative facts. But I'm not getting the likes and the comments and the shares on Facebook. I'm like, damn, sometimes that bothers me because I'm like, this is good information. But I have to remind myself that it is good information.
Yeah, right.
Even if it's not really accepted by others, And it says that's certainly not true of everyone. In fact, a poor or distorted self-image is the cause of many health-threatening conditions and activities, from drug use and alcoholism to eating disorders and obesity. It is no exaggeration to say that a strong, positive self-image is the best possible preparation for success in life.
Oh, man.
I circled that in here because
Huge.
that's huge. I'm going to read it again. It is no exaggeration to say that a strong, positive self-image is the best possible preparation for success in life. So honestly, it sounds so corny to say it, but you do have to believe in what you bring to the table, or you aren't ever going to do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
Straight up, man. And did you watch the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Did you watch the halftime
epic,
performance?
yeah.
Did you watch Lady Gaga?
Yeah.
Did you see all the body shaming things that have come out from her?
Yeah, and honestly, I was like, wow, because I honestly thought that was an awesome performance. I thought there was not one glitch in the entire thing. Lady Gaga rocked it. You could tell she was confident. She was passionate. I was like, when it was done and over with, I was like, wow, man, that was pretty impressive.
Oh, dude, I felt the same. And now all this body shaming stuff that came out about her, like, but you know what? She just responded like, I love my body, and you should too. Like, that was like it. Like, she's just like, awesome. I love who I am. I love this body. I love this. I mean, that's what her whole song about is, like, born this way. Like, but like, dude, she knows deep down so much who she is. Like, I've seen interviews with her, like, she's like, no, I'm not going to rep this product because I don't believe it doesn't align with me, and it doesn't, who I am. And like, so she's always just like somebody who has so much self-confidence in who she is and what she sings about and what her work is about. And honestly, like, I just got to give her like mad props. Like, seriously, I just think she's just like a baller in that regard, and if more people felt that way, like, they would probably be more successful. Too many people let that little gremlin get into their head that's like, oh, you're not. If she were to say, like, I look fat in this outfit, and like didn't go out there and do that, and didn't present her amazing work, like the songs that she's written, and like got like so much energy in there, I mean, dude, she would never be where she is. She wouldn't be worth hundreds of millions of dollars crushing it. Like, and people just listen to that little gremlin in their head too many times, and there's no self-confidence, and then therefore they don't put any worth on themselves, and then they don't do what they're supposed to do. Right. And that bothers me.
And I think you would be in agreement with me if I said that the halftime show for the Super Bowl is probably one of the biggest stages in the entertainment industry, right?
Oh yeah.
So 100%. I can guarantee you that if Lady Gaga, when she first got into her industry, and if she actually cared so much about what everyone was saying about what she was wearing and what she was saying and just everything in general, do you think that she would have ever gotten to the height of performing at the Super Bowl halftime show? Probably not. No. Which goes back to the point of accepting your personal worth and not giving people discounts. So she said, you know what? I'm not going to give my audience a discount and allow them to say, oh, you're fat, and me accept that and enable them. She's like, hell no, I love my body and you should too. Like, she shut her haters down right in their tracks. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So, you do have to listen to your audience, but there's a difference between listening to your audience and hearing what what they want so that, you know, you can be successful, or just listening to your audience and listening and saying negative shit that's not going to help you improve in any way.
Yeah,
you know what I
totally,
mean? So,
totally. She
yeah,
blocked
I think
it
that
out.
Lady Gaga thing, I mean, I think that's an awesome example of knowing your personal worth and what you bring to the table and rocking that shit.
Yeah, I agree, man. All right, and the last one here is laugh.
Wow. Wow. Two creepy laughs. Oh my gosh.
Why did we both?
Sorry if you're driving in your car listening to this right now.
Why did we get
to like?
We get so high pitched right
If you had to check your frequency to see if you were still listening to it. You know, this whole laughing thing, Lindsay always tells me this too. Like, you know, you need to laugh a little bit more at yourself. This and that. My mom used to say it too, because I would take things so serious.
You do.
And in here it says too, I've done the research, and I hate to tell you, but everyone dies. Lovers, joggers, vegetarians, and non-smokers. I'm telling you this so that some of you who jog at 5 a.m. and eat vegetables will occasionally sleep late and have a damn ice cream cone.
Yeah.
Which is true, because going back to health and wellness, for me, when I first got into my field, I tried to be so perfect about my eating. And I was very regimented, and I wouldn't like cheat on my diet or anything like that. And then as I've gotten older, I've realized that rewarding myself along the way and being a little bit more flexible and saying no. Like if I want to, sometimes after the podcast, I'll have a couple Laffy Taffies to reward myself, which I haven't done in a while, but I should be able to do that and not even think twice about it, feel good about it, and get right back into my normal eating schedule. Like I should be able to not take myself so serious, be a little bit more flexible, laugh. Like it's good to have a routine, but it's good to be flexible within that routine.
I agree 100%. Like, you have to laugh at yourself. I mean, because guess what? We're humans and we're going to make mistakes. We make mistakes all the time. Like, you know, a couple of times on the podcast, like, the video thing broke or the microphones didn't work. Like, I mean, yeah, it was frustrating, but we had to laugh it off at some point, just going, I mean, we're just learning, you know, and look, I'm not this amazing technician, sound technician, you know, Mike and I aren't awesome videographers. Like, if you were to see what we're sitting in right now. Like
if you were to read Brian and I's text messages back and forth, we often make fun of ourselves in areas where we know that we're not doing so well in.
All the time.
You know what I mean? I won't go into all those areas because you don't need to know that stuff, but you know, things that him and I suck at, like that we're like trying to accomplish or something, we often, you know, make fun of it through text messages because I think it probably makes us laugh a little bit about it. And then it says in here, if you can laugh at yourself loudly and often, you will find it liberating. There's no better way to prevent stress from becoming distress. So I think that's kind of what we do is like, you know we need to improve in certain areas, but we also kind of make fun of ourselves too because we know we're not where we want to be.
Yeah, and you have to just be lighthearted about it, or else you will be because you can burn out, you can get frustrated, and then you won't get to where you want to go. Like, you just have to go into things understanding that you're not going to be awesome at everything, and you got to laugh it off. You always see the pro basketball players, the air ball, free throw. Like, Shaq used to crack up at himself, like he couldn't make a free throw to save his life. It's like, you're the best basketball player.
Yeah, he LOL all the way to the bank.
Yeah,
too.
he really did.
Think about it. You know what I mean? It's okay to laugh at yourself, even if you're a professional.
I know. Now he's got women rubbing Gold Bond on him, making millions. So.
That's funny. Gold Bond and Icy Hot.
Man, oh man. Tell you, he does more commercials. Oh gosh.
So
he
funny.
needs to rap again. He needs to come out with a new album. All right, let's go into the challenge. And the challenge today is going back to the Find Your Pace. I thought that was a good one because you can listen to this podcast, you can listen to Gary Vee, you can listen to Andy Fusillo, you can listen to all these people out there and compare yourself and try to do all these things, but you are your own person, you have your own definition of success, and only you know what failure is. And that means you haven't done what you need to do every single day to be your best. So you have all that power in your hands. So the couple things I did want to say about the challenge is, don't do too less where you're going to feel lazy, but don't do so much where you're going to get burnout, because that happened to me and it happened to Mike. I mean, these are real stories of like we really got burned the hell out.
Yeah,
and
we were
it's
both
hard.
in rehab next door. We were roommates when we had to check ourselves into the mental institution.
I had a cup. I was clinking it along.
Hey, bro, what are you in here for? Entrepreneurship?
Yeah, with a straight jacket. Entrepreneurship. Yeah, those are the two entrepreneurs over there. Mike and I are just in the corner.
And then Johnny gets rolled by and he's strung out on like cocaine.
Yeah.
And we're in for entrepreneurship. You know what I mean?
Strung out on entrepreneurship. It's a real thing. So the real thing is, I just want you to find your sweet spot where you're going to be most effective. Don't compare yourself to anybody, and just go out there and do the thing that you're doing the most every day to be the most effective.
My
health
tip, and I'll make this short and sweet. I recently had an online client reach out to me. This client was diagnosed with what's called SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So it got me looking into it a little bit on my end. And basically what it is the stomach bacteria, which I've talked about in previous segments about how important it is to keep it healthy. There's an overgrowth of the bad bacteria, and it can cause a lot of issues like diarrhea, your stomach kind of bulging out because you're bloated and whatnot, indigestion, all sorts of issues. So after researching it, there's actually a specific antibiotic, and this is the only time I do recommend taking an antibiotic, is if you officially are diagnosed with SIBO. There's a special antibiotic that you take that will make it to that specific area in the small intestine and kill that bacteria. But it also sheds light on the importance of, again, taking probiotics to help balance out and keep your stomach bacteria diverse, which they call the microbiome. Another thing to do too is it also shows that cooking with or ingesting, even taking a spoonful of coconut oil once or twice a day. Coconut oil has what's called lauric acid in it, and that actually kills some of the yeast in your body, especially in your stomach. So that's like kind of a natural route. And then drinking your apple cider vinegar, I take like a tablespoon or two, either in the morning with water, and I chug it as a shot, or at night. That helps with digestion. But also with the SIBO, they also recommend going on a gluten-free diet, obviously to keep the inflammation down, and a low carbohydrate diet, because that'll keep the sugars in the having to digest all the carbohydrates, which break down the sugars in the body. So I just want to talk a little bit about SIBO. If you're feeling like you're extremely bloated all the time, maybe go to your doctor and bring that up with them and discuss that and see if that's possibly something that you may be experiencing.
Cool, man. Love it. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for hitting us up on Facebook Live. Instagrammers, what's up? Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on iTunes. Like our pages. Come on, comment, like, share. Oh, man, he's getting crazy. And we'll see you all on the next, Bucci, episode.